explain my opinion. I don't know.
Harry, and so let's do Georgetown Lake Overflow. And we'll do Harry here in a minute.
I recommend we leave as is.
I'll second it, nothing's changed since last week.
Okay. Any discussion on the motion in a second? Okay, so Georgetown Lake Over, any public discussion on the Georgetown Lake outflow?
I was up last week, there was just a fine skip of water, but I think it's just from all the use and the wind, so I think we're good.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Oh, so I'm sorry, Carol.
Elena Gagliano, what is the, what are you leaving it out? You would just mention it?
The Georgetown Lake setting of how much we're pulling out.
Yeah, how much is that?
And
44.7.
So it's gonna stay there?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so are we gonna call Harry, is that the deal?
Yeah.
You got a number of?
Yeah.
1406, 541.
The number you have dialed.
I see you don't let me do it that quick, slow. 1, 4, oops.
The number you have dialed.
541, 5646. And then it'll ask you for a call here.
Okay.
The number you have dialed is not.
That's the terms. This phone is so short. 546?
541, 5646.
06?
46.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's the right down.
Please enter your participant or moderator code followed by the pound key.
938612. Pound.
Where is it?
Please say your name followed by the pound key.
Granite County Commissioners.
Hello?
Hello?
It'll be when they come on.
What do you think? Want to give it any more time?
Yeah, I think we should.
Okay.
I think that's a little fast.
Okay.
9:30 says right now.
Okay. Yep, it does.
Tester's representative came in last week.
Oh, heck.
Not very good.
Yeah, that's right.
Not a lot of information and not a lot of, you know, I just.
Henry Ring, Senator Tester's office.
Has joined.
Hello, Henry. How are you?
Doing well, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Henry, there's Commissioner Hinkle, Commissioner Adler, and Commissioner Slaughter as well as some members of the public and Mike Cahill. So you got the floor, go for it.
Eric Island?
Has joined.
Eric Island from Senator Tester's office?
Is that Eric
Yes, who's that?
Slaughter in Granite County?
Hey, how are you doing?
Good.
All right. And are we expecting Cheryl as well? Cheryl?
Oh, I
Hey,
don't-
Henry, you talking about our Cheryl? Yep. No, I don't. Oh, right. Deborah, is she on?
Not yet, I don't think.
We haven't heard from her. You still there?
Henry. Well, let's go ahead and start. I sent Deb an email. I don't know what the deal is, but maybe she just didn't anticipate that we'd be on.
Are you starting?
Go ahead, guys.
Maybe we should state our case.
Yeah, that's probably a better way to go where you guys have been with everything.
Okay. Go ahead, Commissioner Hinkle.
Yeah, we're calling you because we're having a problem with FERC coming up with all these new regulations for us to follow, and it's kind of breaking the bank. We don't have much money left in our dam fund, and the company that runs the dam gets most of the 90% of the proceeds from taking the power. So we got some hard choices to make here. What to do with the dam? Are we going to continue to make power, or what are we going to do? And we wrote a letter to you guys, and we're trying to get a hold of FERC and to figure out something here and give us a little break on all these regulations.
This Commissioner Adler, did you get your letter?
Yeah, the letter addressed to Senator Tester.
Yeah, we sent them out. We never did get a response back.
Yeah, I don't know if ours ended up going to D.C. or where it ended up, but I think Deborah calling you and setting up this call was your response back. If you prefer a letter, we can
No,
do that. We usually try to take care of things.
good deal. What we prefer is somebody get a hold of FERC. This dam was given back to the people of Granite County some years ago with $1 million in maintenance cash. The previous commissioners, I think, were very good about keeping up the safety and maintenance of the dam. This commission, if it had to do with safety, we've stuck $400,000 or $500,000 in that dam since I've been a commissioner. And, nothing we would dispute. There were safety issues. But what we're struggling with is every damn time we turn around, FERC demands another study that doesn't have anything to do with the safety of the people of Granite County. It has everything to do with just, more regulations by a bunch of bureaucrats. And, they've broke us. We don't have any money left. And we put in about, or we get about anywhere from $6,000 to $9,000 a month from the hydropower that we're buying, the hydropower plant. And that should have been plenty of money, along with $1 million to maintain that dam. But it's all these stupid regulations that bureaucrats come up with, and we have no choice. And they're so bad that not only do we have to comply with the regulation and do the study, they tell us who the contractor is. They won't accept, in other words, we can't even go out to bid. They say, no, you're going to pick, for example, Dowell, and Dowell's gonna do your study. You guys need to dig into this. This is a load of crap, and it's gonna break the people of Granite County. And we've, like Commissioner Hinkle said, we got a tough decision. What do we do? You know, do we just shut down the power generation and breach the dam, have a nice day? I mean, this is not right. And we don't mind doing the safety stuff, okay? In fact, we're fully supported, and if you look at our record, we've done a ton of safety stuff. We've hired an engineer, we've replaced gates valves that were 130 years old. We're doing a big project on the spillway and the fascia of the dam right now, and no questions by this commission. But this, let's study this, let's study that. All studies that have been done in the past has got to stop. These people are out of control.
Is there any, are the studies or the requirements of the study consistent over time, or are they changing?
Yeah, they're changing. When the first commission took this over, they thought they had plenty of money to do the maintenance to, you know, and keep up, especially when they were producing power, because all that money goes back into a fund to maintain the dam. But they're getting more and more strict. Look at the dates on the crap that they're requiring us to do. We did what's called was Schedule D?
12D.
12D, which they had all these requirements. We hired an engineer, we went through it. It was totally completed, dotted all the I's, crossed all the T's, sent it to them. A year later, they come back with all these things that, oh gee, this isn't right now. Well, how the hell come it takes a year? And then second of all, it was nitpicky shit. According to our own engineer, it was nitpicky crap. So it takes them a year, then it's nitpicking on what we try, and you know, we tried to meet their requirements, but you can't meet their requirements.
They're breaking us.
And they're out of control. You need to, I mean, you know, best thing Trump ever did is get rid of half the regulations, and you guys need to pay attention to that, because we need help here.
So, the contractor that they've told you to use, has that been the same contractor over time too?
A couple of times, yeah, they tell us that we have to use a
Because you
certain
can't
kind.
find nobody else in the state of Montana that does it.
Well, not only that, they won't accept anybody else. They told us flat out, don't put this out for bid or worry or waste your time, because we're only going to accept one contract. I mean, when our engineer, who's been here a long time, Great West Engineering, went through this, he was appalled. And we also will send you a follow-up letter of all the expenses we've put in the last 4 or 5 years. You won't believe it. But enough is enough. These guys are out of control. I don't know what's going on, you know, it's in Portland, Oregon, and, you know, they're out of control.
Yeah, it would be good if we could get that from you, and specifically which regulations are sort of most burdensome to you guys. I know Part 12D inspections are the main thing you mentioned in your letter. I reached out to FERC last week and let them know that we were taking a look at this and wanted more information about how they were dealing with you guys, and if there were options on the table that they had that would help alleviate this regulatory burden. I'm not sure where that is going to go.
They flat told us that if we didn't generate power, the state of Montana would treat us like a high hazard dam, and we'd never hear from FERC. But since we're generating power, they're gonna be all over us because we have the money to pay for it, and that is just crap. Some of these required studies, seismic studies and studies about where the water goes if the dam breaks, all that stuff we've done before. We've got a plan, and we've exercised the plan, done tabletops. They were here at the tabletop, and now we got to do it again. I mean, you guys got to pay attention. This is why America's about half pissed off, is because the people of Granite County, you know, I mean, they're getting screwed by the federal government.
Well, I'm asking questions about contracts. Extends to the contractors. If you got the same contractor things in subsequent studies, that even might imply other things. And I'm curious, say for instance, Dow, one year identifies some things, you fix it, and then they're coming back and finding something slightly different based on what they've addressed previously. Has that happened?
Well, that's happened. Well, for example, they came and did a complete dam inspection. We had some things we had to do. We made a punch list. We started down the punch list, and they called us and said, "Oh, by the way, we're coming back the next year." We said, "What are you talking about? It's a 5-year deal." They said, "Well, since the dam broke in California, we're coming to look at your spillway more closely." Well, they did, and now they got a whole list of crap we got to do to the spillway. You know, not horrible. I mean, that's not really what we're talking about. But these other studies are stupid. Okay? I mean, come on. We can't afford it. We can't afford it. So
Get rid of it.
if you got anybody that's got a house on Georgetown Lake, you might want to have a chat with them because the federal government is putting us out of business.
No, we hear you. Just to try to get to the bottom of it. I mean, it's
Well, we'll send you some more
most
information.
regulations once upon a time started off with the right intent, and whether or not they evolved to be abused is a whole other matter. And when things are contracted out, sometimes there's more to it than meets the eye. And trying to figure out the exact cause, you know, rolling back 12D entirely might not necessarily be the best approach, but approaching it with some common sense and consistency.
Well, just so we know what you're gonna do, we have a little, you know, we never even heard back from you. I guess that's what frustrates us. You sent
Well,
this letter out
I
to,
looked-
huh?
I looked at the letter, and just to your reference, it looks like our letter went to Washington, D.C. Anything that is mailed to Washington, D.C. Goes through a screening process since the anthrax attacks, and it takes 4, 6, 8 weeks to actually get to the office. Sometimes they get burnt so beyond recognition you can't even tell who they are. So I was
Well,
sure.
Danes got back to us.
He responded right back.
Where his letter went, I'm saying ours. Deborah Franson goes over there. I would make sure to. It's always better to send them to a state office if you're going to mail them.
Okay, so we stand corrected. Nobody's saying that we want to completely do away with the regulations on the dam, okay? We're saying common sense stuff, safety stuff, you know, we've always complied. We're probably the best and quickest complier you got, or they got. It's just all this other study junk. And you know what, we're amateurs, but when our engineer with Great West Engineering says, this is stupid, this is too much, this is outlandish, that's when we start saying, wait a minute, okay? And we'll send to Jeremiah Thay's accounting of all the expenses.
Apology on that.
Okay, we'll get that to you. Who do we send it to?
I would send everything to Deborah Franson. She's the regional director and the one that eventually got the letter sent back to her. And just maybe we can.
I didn't think you got the letter.
Deborah Franson. She got it
He said
on
he did, and then now he said he did.
27.
Well,
Okay, well, we need some help, guys. This is crazy. I mean, you know, like Commissioner Hinkle said, man, we got some tough decisions to make here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, send us your accounting. Like I said, I have already reached out to FERC and asked them what they're doing and what is going on. This conversation is helping to clarify some things for me. If you give me that accounting, I can give them a rundown more specifically of what specific studies and regulations you're having issues with.
well, they just,
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, we'll do that. By the way, this is no secret to FERC, okay? We even sent them a copy of the letter we sent to the congressional delegation. We're saying, hey, you guys are out of line, and
so they should have everything.
They should have
They know what's going on.
we've asked them why it took a year to get back to us with changes to the previous stuff. So I mean, it's not like it's any big secret to them.
Okay.
But I think the more information we have, we can properly tackle it better.
Okay, we agree. So
And I apologize that it's taken so long to get back. It's not an optimal system, but it's always better in the future to probably work directly through Deborah. She's the hotline to the senator for you guys, and
At
alert
least-
us right.
We barely see her, maybe once a year.
Yeah,
Maybe.
we'll do that.
Yeah, we'll get back
We
with it.
can do that.
Yeah, so call us if there's any other data that you need, okay? But I'm telling you, this is an agency that treats the public pretty poorly. I mean, they really do. Not face to face, but, we get these letters from Johnson, and he's never satisfied. I don't care how much money we spend, I don't care how detailed the report is, he comes back with 5 or 6 or 7 pages of crap that he's got questions or we need to do. And, I mean, they're out of hand, okay? We're trying to make a living over here, and we're trying to get the people of Granite County the best bang for the buck as we can, and these guys are impossible to work with. And Jeremiah will tell you exactly the same thing in a more technical way, I promise you.
So as far as FERC, do you guys have anybody that's assigned to you that's a consistent contact, or is it all just letters and?
No, we get consistent for like one visit, then they change it, okay? We had a lady by the name of Katie who was pretty easy to work with, and then of course about the time we get a relationship, boom, we get another one. And then we had her for a year, and we get another one. And yeah, that's part of the scam here, okay? You never want to let somebody actually find out that the Granite County Commissioner, people that really have their hearts in this thing, trying to do the best thing for the people of Granite County, because then they'll change it on you. I mean, I love Washington DC for that. Once there's a relationship made, they change it.
Gotcha. Well, Deanna, you want to circle back to Deb, see what other information she has, and we can come up with a plan of attack and reach out to FERC again?
Can do. Sounds like the main issues here are the regulations themselves, the contracting, and the continual staff changeover. But we'll circle up and get detailed info and circle up with FERC.
And we'll get you some information and a contact from Jeremiah Thays is his name. He's the dam engineer with Great West out of Helena, Montana.
Perfect.
Okay?
All right, well, thanks, Commissioners, appreciate it.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot. Thanks.
Thanks for the call.
Okay.
You did pretty good.
We can't treat him with...
No public comment? No public
Hang on a second.
interaction with this person?
Hang on a second. Okay, so, just so we clear things up, have you got the information you need, that what we need to send to them? Well, how about a couple of those letters from Johnson after the initial study was done, and we need this, and that was like a year later. They noticed the dates on these. Okay. You guys have anything else you want to say? Scott? All right. Go ahead, Elena.
Well, I wanted to talk to him. There's a project number with FERC, and everything is there. All the letters, all the studies, all the requests going back to, 2009. But he's not there anymore.
Okay.
I'll get in touch with him.
Did you guys ever get any feedback from Roger Kirk as to what he thought you might have for options?
Yeah, no, as far as options, no, we're setting up a meeting though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did get a response.
He's coming in.
Yeah, it's coming.
Next week, isn't it?
I think it is.
16th.
Yeah.
Oh, one other thing is I asked for the agreement,
What?
the final agreement with hydrodynamics. I have a draft, but I don't have the final agreement, operating agreement. I'd like a copy of it. clerk and recorder doesn't have one.
Okay, well, we'll see if Mike can come up with something. I'm sure you're gonna file it. Okay,
I'd like that emailed to me. I already requested it.
okay.
And how much is hydrodynamics getting? How much is,
They're getting 90% of the revenue, we're getting 10%.
do we know what the revenue is from
Every month,
North,
Every month, every dollar, every time, yep.
the total amount that
Yep.
they're sending to
Yes,
Kirk?
it's a breakout, we get it every month.
Can I get a copy of that also, from last month or
Well, I
whatever?
think you can get it from the clerk, but you're gonna have to pay for it, but yes, you can get it.
I'm sorry, I'm going to
I
have to
think you're
pay
gonna
for
get
it?
Yeah, you're gonna have to pay for the copies.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And a clarification, I asked when the plant started operation, and I thought it was going to be 2012, but I think Mike checked something and he said it went operational 2013 February, so that would have been the first revenue coming in.
Yeah, and he's got all the sheets from all the revenue from every month.
Again, just a point for the record, I don't understand why this information isn't online. So we don't have to keep bothering Mike. It's a good thing he's around.
Yep, it sure is, absolutely.
Yeah, because when he's gone, we're going to have a hard time finding all these records.
Any other comment? Yes, Dick?
I think the whole problem is the contract that they finally signed with hydrodynamics. When the dam was taken over by the county, it was under the state jurisdiction, and the DNRC exercised control over that from the standpoint of how much water was essentially going to come over. There wasn't any provision made for the hydroelectric plant, therefore the contingencies and the safety requirements weren't anywhere near as stringent as what FERC is proposing. When they got into the original contract, there was quite a bit of discussion and amendment to the original contract that indicated that it was hydroelectric's requirement that they pay for all of the expenses that were involved with the improvement of the dam, et cetera. Somewhere in there that all got changed, but originally it said that hydrodynamics would take care of all of the expenses on that. The question of these studies came up, and hydrodynamics was supposed to take care of those also. They were also supposed to take care of the insurance on that, and again, that got changed. So when they finally agreed, and I'd like to have a copy of the final agreement also, but there's no way in hell that you're going to be able to maintain that dam under the provisions that FERC is administering to you, and it's just impossible. They've got some studies up there that are supposed to be done. They haven't been done, to my knowledge. They cost anywhere from $100,000 to $200,000, and that's Forest Service, BLM, Historic Society, and there's somebody else up there. But when you go with the 10%, the original estimate was that there would be $55,000 per year. Well, that would be fine if the county didn't have to pay any of the expenses. It would have been fine with the maintenance fund if the county didn't put up money for the repairs to that dam. If the hydrodynamics wanted to put in the hydroelectric plant, they should have been required to make all of the repairs to the dam. Singer inspected the dam and said, no, you don't need any more repairs to the dam. So they went along with that. Well, when hydrodynamics took over generating the electricity, suddenly all of this seemed to change. They were no longer, they weren't the owners. They were the. It's kind of gone back and forth between the lessee, whether this was a lease agreement or not. Well, under the law on lease agreements, it isn't supposed to cost the county a dime for that. So under that portion, they should have been picking up the expenses too. somehow the county agreed to pay for all of these expenses. When it started off, we had the $55,000 income that was projected. Well, that meant that the county assumed the cost for the insurance. That was $22,000. The cost for Morris and Marley as the engineering company was $28,000, and then there's another $5,000 to $8,000 for the guy that was handling the valves and whatever maintenance work was there. Well, that comes right out to pretty close to the $55,000 that you were expected to get on revenues. Well, it shouldn't have cost you. It should have been hydrodynamics that got the insurance. It should have been hydrodynamics that paid for the modifications to the dam up there. It should have been hydrodynamics that paid for all of the expenses. And you should have had your $55,000 free and clear. Now I understand you're getting somewhere in the vicinity of $70,000, and hydrodynamics is still coming to you and saying this, that, or the other repair has to be made. FERC is demanding that you make the repair. So that's going to continue, and it's not going to change until you change that contract agreement. If it's a lease, and based on the original lease, hydrodynamics was supposed to pay for all of it. Somewhere in there, the transition was made from them being the owner.
Before all of our times.
Yeah, when it came time to getting the money, they went to the Public Service Commission and said that they were the owner, and all the money was supposed to be transferred to them, and then they would allocate the funds to you. Well, they were the owner then, they should be the owner now. The other thing that was a major consideration was the investment tax credit. Under that situation, they said that they were the owner, they got the investment tax credit, and they didn't even pay any county taxes. So it was just one hell of a scam, and the stipulations on the contract agreement went back and forth just depending on what group they were talking to. Under the present agreement, and your understanding of that agreement, there is no way in hell that you're going to make any money, and these other contingent studies are going to be out there. And it's hydrodynamics that take care of that. They should take care of the insurance. They should take care of every cost that's involved with especially if it's coming from FERC, because then it's under FERC's jurisdiction, and that's the only reason it's under FERC's jurisdiction is because they're generating electricity.
Oh, yeah. So I don't disagree with you at all, Dick, and one of the things that appears to me had happened is initially FERC didn't have all these requirements for all this stuff, and over time they added more and more and more and more, and I've even seen that in the short time I've been here, is they've added more and more every year, and they get more stringent and more expensive. Now, as far as the owner, I asked that exactly, guys, who owns this damn thing? According to FERC, we own the dam. We are the owners and responsibility. And of course, we're buying the generation equipment, the power generation equipment. But I don't disagree with it at all, but it was way before these commissioners' time that, like you said, something happened from the original discussions to the final agreement, right, where the responsibilities seem to change, and we're digging into that right now. That's why one of the reasons we're having meetings with hydrodynamics. And Commissioner Hinkle asked you a question. Go ahead, Jim. How do we change it?
Yeah, how do we change it?
I think you have to rewrite that agreement. I think you have to get that agreement down to what almost amounts to the original draft of the agreement, because that's where it was specifically stated that this is what hydrodynamics is going to have to do.
But if they won't agree to it, then what do we do?
What's our leverage?
Well,
The
the other part of it is when the 950,000 runs out, you're not supposed to get that money from the county taxpayers. It's supposed to, again,
I mean, we
you're
could, but I'm
almost
not
out.
going to do that. I don't think that's right. I agree with you.
Well, I mean, what are you going to do? maybe you have to turn it over to the DNRC and say, here, you can have the dam. I don't really know. I don't remember what all of the final stipulations were on the event that the hydrodynamics plant had to be shut down. There were some penalties involved there, and again, suddenly you guys became the owners, and it was your responsibility to reimburse them if it was shut down. I think you got to look into that pretty damn closely too. There's no way that you're ever going to make any money out of that thing based on the contract that you have now. I think you have to go back to the original terms, and you have to demand that they pay. If they don't want to do that, I don't see where you have much choice other than to shut the thing down and or just go back or cut them off and go back to the original irrigation procedures where the lower Flint Creek people get the irrigation, and you're no longer underneath the FERC regulation. You cannot pay for all and comply with all of their regulations, period.
That seems to be, so let me run this by. Here's our strategy so far. We're putting pressure on FERC to, through our congressional, to back off, okay? Second thing is we're meeting with hydrodynamics. Third thing is the county attorney is looking into all those original agreements and contracts that you were just talking about, okay? And then at some point, we would like to put together some options. And then I think it's coming on us to have a public meeting. I think all three commissioners agree with that, where we say, okay, but without some options, it'd be silly to have a meeting. We would just go over history. We should put together some solid options and lay them out and say, what is the preferred public, what's the best public policy, or help us come up with the best public policy on the options that we can apply. So those three things we're doing, and in the future, I think, when we have some options and some answers, especially some of the questions about the contracts and the earlier contracts that you brought up, then we would present them to the public and say, hey, what do you think? Is that a good strategy in your mind?
Well, you have got to get hydrodynamics to agree to this.
That's on the list.
If they don't agree to it,
we're going to try.
Your options are negligible. There's no way that they're workable.
So, Elaine?
Just one more question. Did you ever wonder why the original license was granted and the commissioners relinquished it 1 month later? Did you ever wonder why they did that?
Relinquished it to who?
They relinquished the FERC license. They applied for it, it was granted, and 1 month later the county relinquished it. Did you ever wonder why they did it?
We have a license, right? With FERC, we have a license. We didn't relinquish it.
You should, see, that's what you should
that's
do.
What
that's what Blaine should do. Because you mentioned a scam before. The scam was how this was set up originally.
Well,
that's the scam.
We have a license from FERC. That's what they threaten us with if we don't follow through.
Because it was relinquished. 1 month after they got it, I think it was 2009, it was relinquished. And then the game playing began, and they just put it in.
Okay, well, I mean, that was before my time, but...
Well, yeah, a lot of things are before your time. This has been brought up to you a number of times.
Right now today, we have a license with FERC.
Had you listened to the public and some of the people that were telling you about this, the commissioners that were involved and the minutes and everything else, it could have been avoided a long time ago.
No,
That's just my comment.
So, but whatever. Thanks. Any other comments? Nick, thanks. I appreciate it.
Well, on that license, there's another thing that you might want to take a look at. Is that the license was granted as a municipality, and what the requirements are for that may be totally different also. The other thing, as far as the license is concerned, there's absolutely none of the electricity comes to Granite County. It's all transferred over to the Anaconda redistribution plant over there. there is no electricity, there is no benefit to Granite County.
None.
Okay, well, we're trying to work through those.
And I think as far as, I think the first time that the county accepted the dam, and then they turned it back over, was in the 90s.
But county attorney's busy working through that stuff. Get the
You
documents.
need to rewrite the contract, period.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the idea of starting to have discussions with.
They get the 90%, that's in the vicinity of $700,000 from my calculation. It's, you get 70,000, they get 700,000 now. That's way over and above the 550,000 that they initially projected. So they've got the money, they don't have any employees up there, and they've got they're getting all the benefits from it. They should accept all of the costs, because that's what's required of the county on any kind of a lease agreement. I'm not sure what kind of agreement you want to call it, but it's very similar to a lease agreement.
Okay, well, we're gonna try to get that final lease to you, and we'll take it, and we'll continue this discussion, okay? All right, it's 10 o'clock.